folks. We are just driving back from Pittsburgh for a really cool Noah Kahn concert, and I'm hiking in the area with my friend Becky. Don't worry, she's doing the driving, not me, while I'm doing this. So I wanted to just hop on to answer your questions and to let you know about a little giveaway that I'm doing over on Instagram with Healthybud. So if you are on Instagram, make sure that you head over to my Instagram. There's a reel there where it'll give you the instructions on the giveaway, and we are giving away a whole treat training bundle. Healthybud has some like amazing treats, and I love them because I use them, you know, as y'all know, I use a lot of food for training, and so when I'm using their food and treats, it means that I'm, you know, feeding my dogs healthy stuff and I'm still getting my training done. So yes, I'm doing a live just for a few minutes while we're driving, because I am a little worried about losing service because we are in the mountains in Pennsylvania right now. But yeah, we were out there doing a little bit of a hike. We went to this really cool old mineral spring, and it was absolutely pouring when we went, but that meant that there was no one else there, so we got the whole thing to ourselves. So that was really, really nice. And we did that before the concert to get Coolip a little bit tired before we went. So a little bit of a jaunt just for a weekend, but I mean, can't pass up Noah Kahn tickets, right? Y'all probably don't know who I'm talking about. It's an artist that I like. All right, so let's see who's on here. Doodle questions. Just like all dogs, I like some doodles and I don't like others, but a lot of it has to do with the breeders and personality and all of that type of thing. Doodles is a whole different topic. I helped my brother-in-law find a doodle that he was looking for, and that is one of the most lovely animals for his family that I know. So really good fit for that family. All right, so let's look at some questions. Do you recommend freeze-dried chicken hearts for high enrichment treats? So with freeze-dried chicken hearts, I just like to cut them up, and I like to mix them with other things so it's not just hearts. So yes, I do like them, but I want to cut them with other things just like I do with all the treats. So I want to do a trail mix of something like that, so it's not all just one thing. Going to a concert next Friday. Awesome. Yeah. Let's see. All right, so a question about making a video on car manners in the future. Yeah, that'll probably definitely be something that I cover in the future. It's part of most public access tests, is like a controlled exit. Sorry, I'm holding this up with one hand, so it's shaky, and we're driving, so I apologize for that. But yeah, so car stuff is definitely part of most public access tests. I do have like my videos planned out for the next several months right now, because I have to do some things in advance, but I can add it to my ideas list for sure. So, all right, let's see. I also, speaking of getting out of the car and waiting politely, if you're on my Patreon, I have a video about how to redirect through doorways, and that's basically what car stuff is how do I get my dog out of the car and get them to auto redirect to me. So I do actually have that video over on Patreon. It's just through doorways, but a car door is a doorway, so it's definitely something that you can modify for your uses. So that's over on Patreon. Okay, some people trying to get service dogs. Let's see, how do you go about becoming a service dog trainer? Yeah, so I actually have an entire 45 to 60 minute video on that over on Patreon. I did a deep dive on it about a few months ago, and it's actually titled What I Would Do in 2024 to Become a Service Dog Trainer. So definitely check that one out. It kind of goes through what I think is important, what good avenues for education are, all of that, because it's, you know, it's a big topic. There's lots of different options, and I think I talk about the mix of things that I think is important there. 15-week-old puppy, how many treats is too much? I mean, that depends on the dog. So when I'm talking about treats for a puppy, what I'm typically doing is trying to train mostly with their kibble with some more exciting things added in. And when I'm doing that, I'm taking the ration of their kibble out of their meals, because with a puppy, nearly all, I mean, with a young puppy like 15 weeks, all of their food is either coming from training or from some type of puzzle toy situation. So I'm going to take all of the food that I need for the day, and then I'm going to use that towards training. So there's no too much treats because I'm mostly using their food. And even if I'm using what they consider treats, like for instance, like Healthybud makes this mini training treat, mini nibs kind of thing. Like they're a food, but I use them for training treats. So check them out. I put that in the description so you can check out what they have over there. But that is a full and complete meal. So I'm going to use that for my training, and then the dog isn't getting treats. They're getting their meal fed in a reward form. So let's see. Training a Newfie. He seems to want to mouth your ankles and wrists. I'm training for search and rescue and water rescue. Should I stop this behavior? I don't know enough about search and water rescue. It doesn't seem like a behavior that you'd want, but I think in any circumstance you can teach them when and where those things are appropriate. So even if you did need some type of mouthing behavior, which I honestly do not know enough about water rescue for that to be a thing. For search and rescue, I don't think that mouthing is a good plan. But for water, maybe, I don't know. That's not my specialty. But we don't need to stop a behavior. We need to basically be able to channel it into something that's appropriate. So what is appropriate for them to mouth and what isn't. Let's see, currently working on a hearing alert. Awesome. How do you get your dog to listen consistently to others? He will listen to me, but anyone else is laughable. I spend a lot of time with young puppies passing the puppy off to other people and having them train with it. So even when like Cool Whip was a baby, I would send her to like a training with some other trainers during the week, twice a week. For a few weeks, just to get her working for other trainers, so that it was within her scope that, oh, other people might be doing things with me. For me, it's personally important that I have dogs that can be worked with multiple people, specifically because I use my dogs as a distraction dog or demo dog pretty frequently. So they need to learn that other people may also be doing stuff with them. So that's as simple as having the other people actually work with them, because they don't need to, they don't need to be able to listen to other people unless you need them to, right? And I do, so that's how I do it. 2-year-old Basset who's not food motivated, what can I use instead? That depends on your dog. Now, the good news is I actually have a video coming out, not this week, I think next week, on how to work with on dogs that are less motivated by food. There's a lot of things that you might inadvertently be doing to make your dog less interested in working for food. So I'm going to go over what things those might be and how to increase their food motivation in that video. So stay tuned for that. That'll be over on YouTube. And as always, it'll be on Patreon the day before without any ads. Okay. But like, for instance, and one thing I want to point out about that is that people often want to teach their non-food motivated dogs to be service dogs. One of my this may be controversial, but one of my qualifications for a service dog is food motivation, because the type of training I do requires a significant amount of food and a dog that is motivated by food. So I am purposely choosing a dog that is going to be motivated by food, because that is part of the training I'm doing. In the same way that I'm choosing a dog that's going to be cool with laying under a table at Starbucks, because that's part of the job. So I want to pick a dog that's going to be an appropriate fit for what I'm doing training wise, as well as what their lifestyle will look like. So, I'm going to pick a dog that has an active lifestyle but can settle, whereas someone might pick a dog that has a very mild exercise requirement because that's what their lifestyle is. So we're looking at lifestyle when we're looking at choosing dogs that fit our situation. Okay, when training a service dog or SDIT, is it okay to keep your training session short and do a few of them per day, in between sniffing, walks, resting, and just regular rewarding for settling? Yeah, absolutely. That's how I prefer to train. My preferred method of training is like training sessions that are between 90 seconds and 5 to 10 minutes multiple times a day. So I will do with a young puppy, because when I have a young puppy in my life, I set up my life to be able to, and this obviously I have the privilege of being able to do that. I will basically work with that dog between 5 and 10 times a day, but for 90 seconds to 5 minutes or so. And that's how most dogs at that age do best. All right. train both of my sons down. How much food per day for a new puppy? That is a veterinary question. You would want to ask your vet what works for your dog. Yeah, I can't answer that, and it depends very much on the breed, the actual age of the dog, and what they were eating previously. Okay, so they use this is Boone 22 talking about water rescue. So they turn floating person using ankles and wrists. So I'm redirecting him at this point. Yeah, I would talk to someone who specifically trains water rescue for that and see what makes sense for them. Okay, psyched for the live. Is the game plan for seizure response started with CGC, then training to more complex tasks, med, retrieve, alert, realistic? Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways you can train your service dog and how you want to do the thing. For me, a dog really isn't a service dog candidate. Like a true, like they're not ready for more stuff until they can pass a CGC. That's not to say I won't train foundations, but we also want to remember that when we're talking about difficult health behaviors, we don't want to put any pressure on the dog until they're 18 months or so. So you may be training for these. Sorry, y'all. Can you hear me now? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, because I think I lost connection there for a hot second. Let's see. I think we're okay. Okay, let's see. Good, we got smiles. That means we're good. Okay, border collies for service dogs. Yeah, I mean, it's not a breed I would pick. It's not a breed I would recommend generally, but I don't know your situation. Most of the time, border collies have a lot of energy that needs to be expelled, and they don't tend to love long periods of laying down, and they tend to be environmentally sensitive. But if you get a border collie that's not environmentally sensitive and has a good off switch, then absolutely it could be a good service dog. It's just I wouldn't bet my money on that. You know, everything when we're talking about breeds for service dogs has everything to do with the exact person that it is, the dog, where they come from, their health background, the breeder they're from. You know, there's no one size fits all. However, there's a reason that I recommend labs and goldens to most people, and it's because they're the right fit for most people. So when we're talking about success rates and what's going to fit the lifestyle, those dogs have higher success rates because they have a better lifestyle fit. I was just looking at a couple of Labrador puppies at this breeder's house, and you go in and the dogs are just chill. You know, they're 8-week-old puppies, they're hanging out, they're chill, they're not loud, they're just quietly playing. Like these kinds of things, like, can you find them in other dogs? Sure, you can, but realistically, these are the dogs that are going to be the most successful most easily for the most amount of people, and that's what we're talking about when we're talking about breed. Okay, let's see. Oh, coming from someone who takes multiple walks per day. And a border collie on a walk, I mean, if your walk means that you're taking a 5-mile off-leash hike every single day, then maybe. But like a walk on a leash for a dog like my Cooley, for instance, you know, another high-energy working breed, yeah, that's a warm-up to what they can do. So, all right. How do you begin training for specific alerts, heart rate, dysautonomia? I don't do those types of alerts, or that's not my specialty. I believe Feywild Dogs is doing a course on that right now, so I would check in with someone who specializes in that. Each service dog trainer will specialize in different... bumpy here. Becky's doing a great job driving while I'm doing this. Yeah, each trainer is going to specialize in different things. That's not mine. I don't do scent-based anything. Heart rate alerts aren't my specialty. I do guide dog stuff, some mobility stuff, and then psych stuff. Okay. Any reason why my Belgian is confident and listens well off-leash, but then they use a leash with him? Question for a trainer that sees that behavior in person. Because I couldn't begin to wonder. You know, maybe some poor associations with the leash, bad things that they don't like happen on leash. There could be a variety of things, feeling like they can't escape when they want to, that kind of thing. What happens when they're I don't understand that one, sorry. Should I get my male fixed? That's also a question for your vet. I will tell you that I personally don't get dogs fixed before 18 months or so, depending on the dog. So take that with what you will. Someone from PA. Oh my God, there's so many questions. All right, we're going down. Oh, people, must have been thumbs up for being able to hear me. I have a healer. Nice. Yeah, I love my cattle dog. He's not service dog material, but he's a great dog. Okay. I'm going to the bottom. Let's see. We recently received our first guide harness that was custom made, but it feels really heavy from the buckles and the metal pieces used. Would you say there's a weight ratio to dog for the harness? No, I don't know of any like rule of thumb about weight ratio, but I have felt some of the, especially the biothin harnesses that are being used for guide work, and they are heavy. I have never used a biothin for a dog that I've worked with. I've only used leather and the rough wear harness, so I can't speak to that, but I do imagine that that could cause issues over time, but for a larger breed, maybe not. So I don't know if I can talk intelligently about that. Okay, so now that I have a bunch of people here, I do want to just point out that if you are on Instagram, I have a giveaway right now with in collaboration with Healthybud, which is a really cool treat company. So head on over there. There's a reel about it. You can enter, and everyone who enters gets something, a little bit of a freebie. So you can check that out. Again, that's over on Instagram. All right, I'll take one more question. How do you know when you really need a service dog, and do you always need your doctor or therapist involved? Yeah, so that is a personal question. It's something that I would talk about with my medical team. I mean, that would be my first thing. And I have a course called Service Dog 101, and one of the things that it talks about a lot is what it's actually like having a service dog, because it is so much. The day-to-day experience is so difficult sometimes when you have a service dog. It's not all unicorns and rainbows, and so weighing the pros of having that service dog, not even to mention how difficult it is to train one, and the cons is kind of what you have to decide. And you want to look at other interventions that might be helpful. So what medications might be helpful, what other adaptive equipment might be helpful, and are those things easier than having a dog with you all the time? Can't escape when we want to. I think I understood that on some level, but fairly confident on a long line, so this makes more sense. Yeah, there's lots of things when we're talking about barrier frustration. They can come from fences, it can come from leashes, but things where your dog feeling like they can't escape in situations that they're anxious or fearful of. Yeah. Okay, I'm actually going to continue this over on Instagram, so if you guys have more questions, I'm going to head over there right now so that y'all can enter that little giveaway. So thank you for your questions, and if you have questions, remember that you can always come over to Patreon. I do a live Q&A every month, and I actually prepare for them, so you submit the questions, I have time to have a well thought out answer, and then I answer them over there once a month. So that's patreon.com/DOGGYU. And if you want to continue this, head over to Instagram. On Instagram, I am at DOGGY.U. That's probably backwards for you. But all right, we're going over a bridge. Woo! All right, see you over there. Bye.